Salt Lake City, home to the 2002 Winter Olympic Games, forever claiming the greatest snow on Earth. But even before their first snowflake comes to rest along the Rockies, Utah is known as one of the ultimate playgrounds for adrenaline junkies. From rock climbing, mountain biking, paragliding, skydiving, to street racing. Street racing has quietly fueled car fanatics since the 50s. Back then, the cars had a different personality. It used to be the muscle cars like the Mustang. Nowadays, it's the imports that dominate the street racing culture. Individuals today are finding new ways to push these cars to their limits. They are achieving speeds once thought to be impossible. Incredible speeds, along with increased popularity, is a dangerous combination. One responsible for a large number of deaths across the country. Local law enforcement has become increasingly aware of the potential risks involved in street racing and has focused attempts to close it down completely. While some racers accept getting busted and having their car impounded as part of the sport, others would rather not risk it.
Shit, you can't go anywhere now without there being police around, and now they're giving tickets for being a spectator, and it's just not worth it anymore. So I spend a lot of time at home playing PlayStation 2.
Rocky Mountain Raceways, along with the support of the local street racing community and slcsr.com, has opened up a new pathway to keep engines revving and adrenaline pumping. A new event focused on getting street racing off the streets and onto a quarter-mile track. An opportunity anyone with $10 and a dream to race against some of the fastest cars in Utah. Welcome to the Midnight Drags. Rocky Mountain Raceways is pulling larger numbers of people than any other track for such events across the country. The first Midnight Drags, only advertised on slcsr.com, drew more than 6,500 people to the track. This year, it's only getting bigger. racing gained popularity in Utah long before the box office hit The Fast and the Furious. We had the opportunity to meet up with one of the groups that helped pioneer street racing in Utah and still continues pushing this sport to new levels. Team Zero Drag. At first glance, Team Zero Drag appears to be more like family than friends. Each member brings a unique skill or talent to the table, which makes them collectively one of the most knowledgeable and skilled groups around.
It's my 92 Civic hatchback.
It's 96 Civic hatchback.
This is a Prelude. It's a 93. This isn't my car. This is my old roommate's car. He's married right now. He's on his honeymoon.
As far as under the hood goes, it's intake, exhaust, the normal intake, exhaust, headers, and of course I had to get one of them engine swaps.
95 Acura Integral motor.
June Type 3 cams, valve springs, retainers, and cam gears.
It's got SRT pistons.
Got the engine intake.
High-tech header. This is pretty cool. These are really rare. They're handmade.
Eagle rods, knife edge crank.
JG Edelbrock intake manifold.
It's got a B16 head.
DC headers.
This is all custom made, all handmade by a company called Modern Garage.
3-inch down pipe.
That's my spoon upper strut bar.
Upgraded front mount intercooler.
Technology wires.
Has an MP racing manifold. A T3, T4 Turbonetics turbo.
Mugen head gasket that raises the compression from 10.6 to 11 to 1.
I-box springs, coilovers.
There's a Blitz blow-off valve. Little things like that just kind of help out a little bit.
Why do street racers dedicate such a huge amount of time, money, and effort into their cars? Many would say it's for the respect. Others a chance to push themselves to new levels of mechanical achievement.
What motivates me to continue racing is 100% pure adrenaline rush. Love the adrenaline rush. Nothing like sitting at a light or down at the races when you got your flagger out there and he throws his hands up and you set your idle wherever you want it. And he drops his arms and it's like, boom, y'all just both take off.
I love to race. I love the speed pretty much. Addicted to the speed now.
And I'm in it basically for the women,
Whether you consider pure adrenaline as a drug or not, one time behind the wheel of one of these amazing imports and you'll be hooked forever. This red Integra belongs to Mark Reynolds, Phantom Motorsports, winner of the Pink Slip Races on August 17, 2002. The Pink Slip Races are a chance to race head-to-head with an opponent for cash. Some winning enough to help buy an engagement ring, as Mark later told us. Others just enough to pay for gas to get back home to Preston, Idaho.
I think one of the major components in racing successfully is a simple formula of high horsepower and lightweight. The displacement, of course, originally was 1.8. This one's been reconfigured to 1.95, which equates to about 120 cubic inches and makes well over 470 horsepower. On top of that, it also gets 32 miles to the gallon on the highway. This one, of course, gets all of its power from forced induction. We have a turbocharger set up here with a nice equal length header and wastegate set up to maximize the flow through the turbo, which helps it spool up quicker and pull harder and longer. Intercooling is done by an air-to-liquid intercooler on this particular car. I do have a heat exchanger in the front to keep the liquid cool, so that the air temperature can be maintained more consistently. Some of the things that are important with turbo setups, I don't know if anyone's interested, but you have your wastegate, which actually regulates the amount of boost via a spring and a valve. And of course, you've got several different types of boost controllers that can aid this, either via an electronic solenoid here, which adds a bias pressure to this side of the wastegate, keeping it from opening, or you've got these types of boost controllers. This particular one simply uses a ball and a spring that has a preset pressure and will allow boost to be seen by the wastegate once it reaches that pressure. We have a blow-off valve here, which allows the compressed air to escape or to be relieved from within the intake tract when the throttle body is closed, so that you don't have a surge of pressure causing the turbo to stop or spin backwards. This setup, being designed a couple of years ago, actually required the use of multiple sets of injectors to deliver enough fuel to make the horsepower that we were targeting. There are some better systems available now that can actually run a large injector as opposed to two small ones. This one would run a set of primary injectors of a small value under normal cruising and driving conditions, and then once we reach a predetermined amount of boost, which I've set at 2 pounds, it'll add the large ones to it and deliver 3 times as much fuel.
The Midnight Drags could also be defined as a moving art gallery, where the artists use a wrench and innovation to carve their masterpiece. If you are an eccentric of exterior design looking for some custom paint, look no further than Farmington's own Kim Burris.
My name's Kim Burris, and I have a custom shop for painting. We started with Harleys mainly because that was the avenue that I had friends that had those kind of toys. These 2 bikes that are out here right now, those are 2 of some of my favorites. Main reason why is they kind of let me do what I wanted. So I was able to do a wild hare.
My name's Cord Armstrong, and I live here in Utah, and I purchased a 2000 Road King Classic. I think when you personalize a bike with custom paint, it really sets it apart. I talked to Kim and explained what I kind of wanted, and he said, well, let me see your bike. And when he saw my bike, he goes, I know exactly what I want to do. So sat down and he free-handed everything out after he taped the bike out, and it blew my mind. It's when you look close, that's when you realize how nice it really is, because everything just goes to perfect, sharp, points all throughout it. And by it being 3D, it's pretty neat when you look close.
One thing that people also are really getting interested in nowadays is little cartoons, and something that we started up as of recently is pinup girls. The bear, the mascot for the Jazz, actually rides this bike around. This is Greg Ostertag's Humvee. This is actually the second one we did for him. He got a bigger, nicer Hummer, and he also wanted wildlife scenes on it and things, so we did all the duck scenes and the elk and deer and things that he likes to do when he's out on his Hummer. This one is his actual first one that he got, and that was really kind of a fun idea to do it in Advantage camouflage, because I hadn't seen anything like that except for the decal stuff that's out there. And that's what makes it fun, is finding new things and weird things to do. And I love pushing the envelope and doing different stuff.
Kim Burris, you're the man.
gives me a good race. That's a good race. For him and I, that's a good close. If you're down at the end, had we had another 10 more feet, he'd have had me. It's a 32 Ford. It's glass body, and it's got a 620 cubic inch big block Chevy in it. It's naturally aspirated, and that's about it. I give it everything it's got.
We've heard about a guy winning the Darwin Awards by strapping a jet engine onto a 67 Chevy Impala and trying for the land speed record. The Night of Fire reminded us of that story as we saw these hybrids of drag cars and jets approach 300 miles per hour. We were able to see a fire display of our own out at the Midnight Drags. A big black beast throwing 10-foot flames was one of our favorites. Say hello to Betty.
This truck is actually a 1968 camper special. It's a built 355 with nitrous. You know, it's a good get-around motor, but I can also go out to the track and pull 13s when I can hook up and then just drive it home. Right here, in between, that's a bar plate, and you got the line for the nitrous. It's kind of fun to mess with people because you'll pull up next to them and you're getting ready to race and you purge your nitrous, and they look for a second, then the guys who actually know what that is, and it dawns on them, and then their jaws drop as you just take off. I'm trying to make it look like a rockabilly rod. I don't want it to look pretty and, you know, nice paint and stuff. I want to be able to pull up next to somebody or them pull up next to me and they look at me and they don't go, wow, that's a nice truck. I want them to get that chill up their spine like they just saw a ghost. I want to go for that drop look, the big old meats in the back, the big old 10-foot flames, and you know, it looks like a hot rod from hell. The flame kit is Super Flames out of California. This kit has a bunch of wires underneath here. You got 2 wires that run to a coil underneath, and it hooks up to the plug. When you flip the switch inside the truck, at the same time it kills the ignition to the motor, then turns the ignition on in the back, and all that unburned fuel that I'm pumping through the motor doesn't get burned up in the motor because it's not working, and then it comes out the exhaust, and then that lights it up back there. Out the track, a lot of people, I didn't think they'd like it that much, but when I shot them for the first time out the track, it made me feel really good. Just like I accomplished something, I'm unique, different. That's what I want to do, is build something different and unique. They sell Super Flames on flamethrowers.com, and they have flamethrowing kits for imports now, and those are on dragonexhaust.com.
The Midnights brought along with it a few mishaps, anywhere from dropped transmissions to cooked clutches. None, however, compared to the mishap that occurred September 2nd, the night of the Monday night Nitro Fever. The Nitro Fever is one of the largest and most exciting events that take place at RMR. People come from near and far in order to see these 12,000 plus horsepower machines burn down the track at speeds you just gotta see to believe. As always, a full safety crew is on hand under the supervision of RMR's safety director, Jeff Midgley. Tonight, we were especially glad they were.
It's like that movie Tornado. It's like you have debris. Shoots out, got the thing shut down, trying to stay out of his way.
The safety crew was en route to the accident within seconds of the crash. Each member of the team performed their tasks in a collective effort to save the life of driver Ron Fassel. Within minutes, Life Flight arrived on the scene and flew Ron to the University Hospital, where we are happy to say he had a quick and complete recovery. Accidents can happen anytime, any place, anywhere. RMR is no exception. It's a comfort, however, knowing there's a team of trained professionals willing to risk their lives to save yours. For some, the passion of cars is much more than a hobby. It's a form of expression. The car becomes a canvas on which we create power, speed, and beauty. As Utah's street racing culture continues to evolve and new works of art are born, there's now a place to showcase your accomplishments. Thousands of people gathered among the stands, and us in the middle of it all, waiting to see what's next. We'll see you at the Midnight Drags.